Hi there. This is my reaction to Jenny Mitich's video that she recently put out. Why am I doing this? Because what she's going through is super common for people on the carnivore or keto diet. And also because she's actually asking for advice in the video. So let's talk about it.
So I've been having a really hard time lately. I have gained about between 8 and 15 pounds. I keep going up and down between 155 and 163. And I'm just having the hardest times. And yeah, it's just been incredibly frustrating. And I just need to get this off my chest.
Yep, they all do it. Gain weight. All of them. The ones who do manage to lose weight on carnivore. And let's be real, that's not even most people. They almost always gain it back. And that's when the fasting starts. Water fasts, the egg fast, sardine fasts, you name it.
So I think the vast majority of what's going on is related to my Hashimoto's hypothyroid. I was diagnosed formally in July of last year, so it's been almost a year, 10 months now.
This is interesting. Jenny has been doing carnivore for about 2 years. She got diagnosed after being on the diet a year. And honestly, that's so typical. People who restrict carbs, whether it's from keto, carnivore, or simply just chronic dieting, they slow down their thyroid, restrict carbs, and expect a slow thyroid.
Been really working on it since October. I had a bunch of blood work, started formally working with Dr. Amy Horniman and her.
Did this doctor give you the most obvious fix? Eat more carbs and ease up on the fats. And maybe Jenny needs some thyroid meds too. I'm not sure how far things have progressed, but I really hope she gets the support she needs.
And we got me on some T3 medication starting in October. And you know, it has been a bit helpful. I'm not gonna say I'm as tired as I was, but I'm definitely not to where I need to be yet. I'm still getting inflamed very, very easily. Like if I eat dairy, I get totally inflamed. Like right now I'm a little bit puffy because I had some dairy last week.
Let's talk a bit about inflammation and those high-fat diets like carnivore and keto. Stay with me here, because I feel like this kind of understanding of inflammation is really lacking out there. When you eat that much fat, your body basically shifts into survival mode. Your cells aren't getting the glucose they desperately need to function. And at the same time, your system is scrambling to protect your organs from fat overload. So what happens? Cortisol gets pumped through your body, kind of like what happens when you take steroid meds. This stress response can actually make you feel really good in the moment. Everyone who has been on prednisone knows the high. Sure, the swelling might go down, just like it does with medical cortisone, but that doesn't mean the root problem is fixed. It just means your body is so stressed it shuts down the inflammation response temporarily. Now here's the twist. When Jenny eats just a little bit of carbs from dairy, which, by the way, does have carbs thanks to lactose, which is milk sugar, her body wakes up. It finally has some energy to respond. That's when inflammation flares up again in areas that are damaged or under attack from viruses or bacteria. It's not a bad thing. It's the body doing what it's meant to do when it finally has some fuel to do it. That is not to say that dairy is a good source of carbs. It is not. Cheese, butter, and all milk products are linked to so many diseases. Because what is supposed to fuel a calf to become a full-grown cow in under 2 years can also make things grow in a human body that is not supposed to be growing there. So either she had an inflammatory response from the dairy because the body is doing something good from getting some sugar to kill off sickness, or the dairy itself is feeding the sickness. If she would eat carbs from, say, a melon, and she got puffy in the face also, then we know it is that the body is doing something good. Say she wouldn't have the swelling and puffiness at all after eating melon, then we know it is likely the dairy itself feeding pathogens in her body.
I am still so tired. I wake up every morning just feeling like I haven't rested at all, and that's after, sleeping for 8 hours.
You'll probably stay tired until you let go of the dogma around the carnivore diet. I understand you've built an income around it. Jenny sells one-on-one coaching and runs a carnivore community membership, but it's time to let it go. You need to walk away from that diet now, for the sake of your health.
I'm really working on dialing in the sleep. I've been really working on the sunlight piece, trying not to wear my sunglasses as much, getting out and watching the sun rise to kind of reset my circadian rhythm and all this stuff.
This is good to do, but will not help in this situation. Think of a pet, for example. If your cat was sick because you didn't give it its species-specific diet, say you gave it wheat and only wheat, and you try to cure the sickness by bringing out the cat to be in the sun and watch the sunrise, it wouldn't help the cat much.
Yeah, it's been rough.
It's also been really rough for the animals and all they had to go through before they ended up on your plate.
In addition to starting the T3 medication, we also started doing testosterone, bioidentical testosterone replacement, because my testosterone was really low.
Yes, this is also pretty typical for carnivores. Both men and women have reported their testosterone levels dropping like a rock. Paul Saladino even mentioned this as one of the reasons he jumped off the carnivore train. Maybe it's time we shelve the idea that eating meat is somehow manly. Because let's be honest, if your steak is stealing your mojo.
So if you don't know, females do have testosterone, just at a much lower level than males. And mine was at a 20.
Oops, that was low.
And it's supposed to be like between 80 and 100. So we started replacing it, and that was going really well. I'd gotten my levels up to 42, and then we decided to kind of ramp that up a little bit and do more. But as I increased the amount of testosterone I was taking, my appetite just exploded. I was so hungry.
Of course, that's because your body wants to live.
And that is a common side effect of using testosterone. Another thing that kind of went hand in hand was an increase in my average glucose levels, where before I was in the 80s, the low 80s, I was in the 90s and low 100s. So that was a bit concerning to me.
Yep, medical testosterone can mess with your blood sugar, especially at the start. But hey, before jumping on the hormone train, try nature's route. Fruits, veggies, whole grains, and legumes. It's like giving your hormones a spa day, gently balanced, no weird side effects. Your body knows what it's doing. Sometimes it just needs plants, not pills or patches.
But the appetite was really the big deal because I could just eat and eat and eat and eat.
Your body is screaming for the right kind of fuel, Jenny. Try to change for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. And see how you feel.
And, if you eat way too much food, you're going to gain weight. It's inevitable.
You should watch the high-carb, low-fat vegans eat then. I mean, they can really eat. And they are thinner than most people.
Well, I was also experimenting with starting to include a little bit of carbohydrate in the form of salads and fruit because a lot of thyroid practitioners say you need to have some carbohydrates for your thyroid to work properly. I didn't know at that time if I believed that or not.
Believe it.
But I wanted to test it out. I do a lot of N-of-1 experiments here on this channel. So I started doing 2 salads per week while we were in Greenville.
Salads are really wonderful for your health and offer so many invaluable nutrients, but they're not a source of carbs. And 2 per week, you should try 2 per day.
And I started adding in a little bit of fruit, but
let me guess, a handful after dinner?
Pairing that with the increase in my appetite, I just couldn't moderate. I could not moderate. If there was like a clam shell of raspberries in the house, which normally I don't eat, I just don't eat them for my kids, it was getting insane.
That's because when you finally got to taste fruit, your true proper human diet, you wanted more of it. You should have ditched the meat and the testosterone and just went for the fruit big time. Promise you, then you would have lost the weight you so desperately wanted to lose.
So all of those things coalesced and I ended up gaining like 10 pounds.
You gain weight when you take testosterone. That is just the way it goes. More muscle? Totally. Water retention? Yep. Bigger appetite? Oh yes. And sometimes fat ends up where you really didn't ask for it.
I think at my lowest that I've gotten in January was like 147. Currently, I'm at like 161, but I kind of went up from like 150 to 160. So that was concerning. I determined through this experiment of including, salads and fruit and stuff like that, it did not help my thyroid whatsoever. My numbers are still low, my T3, my free T3, which is the one we're concerned with, and I didn't feel any better. I didn't feel any more energetic.
No, because you didn't do what you said you would try, to bring in the carbs. Salads and a tiny bit of fruit don't count.
In fact, I felt worse because I feel really good when I'm doing strict carnivore, just getting, all of that plant material out of my diet.
This right here is exactly what your body needs to heal.
It is really helpful for me. I cut all of the junk out again and was just doing strict carnivore.
Junk. Imagine calling the most helpful food for your body junk. And imagine being stuck with this for life, and you feel good because of the cortisol. We talked about it earlier.
Then we had a big project in Florida. I haven't quite revealed what that is yet, but we were down there for 6 weeks. And it was a lot of work. And during that time, I did some sardine fasting.
Told you. Here comes the sardine fast. So gross. Fasting used to mean giving your body a break, letting it cleanse, reset, heal. Now, apparently, I'm fasting means I just had tins of sardines swimming in mercury.
I was able to get down to 156, I think, was the lowest I was able to get to. And then I started just eating regular carnivore again, but I was including dairy.
Because I have to get those carbs somewhere.
My mother-in-law was cooking us dinner every night because we were just so busy. We were eating dinner at 7 or 8 p.m. I was eating dairy, and eating that late for me, my glucose levels just were all over the place.
If you eat the right foods, you can eat whenever you want. How much of it that you want? Come and join the good side, Jenny. We would love to have you.
Even eating carnivore foods, or even, sometimes we would include, peppers or something like that, kind of do a ketovore thing.
Those look good.
It was just a mess. It was a total mess. So by the time I got home, just a few days ago, actually, I was up to 162 pounds again. Still have a bit of inflammation around my eyes from the dairy and just feeling generally kind of blah. I've been sardine fasting since I got back.
The fasting. Again.
And that's been helpful.
Sardine fasting works because sardines are so unappetizing. You physically can't eat much of it.
But I'm really frustrated.
I get that. It's like banging your head against a wall over and over and wondering why you've still got a headache. She fasts, she drops a few pounds, then gains them back. Because the foundation is all wrong. You can't reset a system that's being thrown off daily by the very diet it's built on.
And disappointed in this whole process. It's just kind of ridiculous that I can't have, a couple of pieces of cheese without feeling like crap.
We talked about why this happens.
I look at food and I gain weight.
You just look at the wrong food.
I feel like, why is it so hard? Why is this so hard? It shouldn't be so hard.
It is so hard because you bought Ken Berry's and Anthony Chaffee's false propaganda.
Hard. And it's not for everybody, but particularly for women, especially in your late 30s on, thyroid issues are very common, very common.
Partly because women restrict their carbs and are dieting all of the time.
And for me, I had my kids really late and I had twins. So when you are pregnant, all of your not all of them, but a lot of your hormones, a lot of your extra vitamins and minerals and things like that go into growing that baby. First growing the placenta and then growing that baby. And I had 2 placentas and 2 babies to grow. So I feel like after I had them, that was my trigger. My body was just like, so exhausted from that process.
Yes. Pregnancies take a toll on your body, and your immune system also goes largely towards protecting the baby. So if you have underlying issues, pregnancy can be a trigger. But I think this is a sidetrack. Jenny is trying to understand why she is failing as a carnivore. Every human being on the planet fails at being a strict carnivore, sooner or later.
And it just hasn't recovered. It just hasn't fully recovered. The fatigue is the biggest symptom for me, but the weight, it's so frustrating. I can't gain muscle. That was because of the low testosterone. I can't lose weight because of the thyroid stuff. So I'm very, very frustrated.
I feel for her. This is frustrating. But she doesn't need to be stuck. You're allowed to leave the carnivore cult, Jenny. You gave it your all, and now it's time to move on from this madness.
I feel like I'm really doing everything right. I eat really clean.
This is really not clean eating. The food you call junk is clean.
I exercise, I sleep, I do all of the sunlight stuff. I really try to moderate my stress. There's only so much we can do there. I'm kind of at a loss.
All good stuff, but it won't counteract your diet.
So I just wanted to talk with you guys about it because I know there's a lot of you out there that are experiencing the same thing.
Yes, a lot of people are experiencing the same thing. Here are some comments under her video. I was doing carnivore for 2.5 years, and I began gaining weight. In a nutshell, carnivore leads to more and more restriction. What can I take away next? Fast longer, eat less, just eat sardines. It's madness. Hubby and I started strict carnivore, lost 15+ pounds immediately, and felt great. After almost a year, started dealing with extreme fatigue, sleep problems, and hormonal problems. I stopped doing carnivore. It worked great in the beginning, and then I started getting so sick.
My husband, for example, we just released a video about how hard it is for him to lose weight, even within the context of a ketogenic diet. He can only really lose the weight if he's also fasting.
I hope that this helped them both to open their eyes. You don't need to restrict food to lose weight. Just leave keto and never look back.
I've been doing the sardine fasting. For me, the thought of doing an extended water fast right now, I'm already so tired.
No, don't do a water fast and run down your thyroid and adrenals even worse. And don't put fish full of heavy metals in your body either.
The first 3 days of a water fast are hard already. So it's kind of like, I don't have the mental bandwidth to do that right now.
Good. Don't do it.
I know, like, my husband has a hard time. Several people in my carnivore community have a really hard time with the weight loss. And I talk to people every day with it. So just wanted you to know that you're not alone. Happens to me too.
All right, I'll leave it here. If this ever finds its way to Jenny Mitich, I truly hope it's not taken the wrong way. It comes from a place of care. I wish her well. And to you who's watching, if you're feeling stuck in the carnivore mindset, just know that there's a way out.